Hi, this is Becca.
And this is Kyla.
And you are listening to Chatterbox. Hello, everyone. It's great to have you all gathered here today, once again. I would like to say a very quick apology for last week for not getting an episode out. There's been a lot of technical difficulties going on in my life, and from here on out, I'm going to try my best to pull it together so we don't have to go any weeks without episodes. So thank you for understanding, and we are very thankful for all of the support that we've received from you guys. We literally can't do this without you, so keep liking, sharing, and commenting on our videos. It's going to help push us into the algorithm. And we were in the middle of a chakra series, and we have decided that it was not a home run, so we are moving on to the next topic. So today we are going to discuss something that I have always wanted to delve into, and that is American Horror Story Season 5 versus reality, the truth behind the Hotel Cortez. So, if you didn't know, American Horror Story Season 5, which is the hotel season, was loosely inspired by real-life crimes, legends, and historical figures. So, although it was heavily fictionalized for dramatic effect, we are going to give a breakdown of the true events and the eerie and strange influences behind this season. So if you haven't seen American Horror Story Season 5, is literally my favorite. I would say Season 5 is my favorite, then the first season is my second favorite.
The House.
And then the third season, The Coven.
I don't know, I just think I think seasons 1 through 5 are just all good in their own ways. I just enjoyed...
What's your top 3?
Well, because I need to remember there's another one that was, my favorite. Hold on. Because I haven't watched the newer ones. We got Asylum. Okay, I know The Asylum was one of my top ones. I don't know which one it would be in. The Witch, and then the Freak Show. I liked the Freak Show. I don't know. Like I said, I love the House one. I love the Asylum one. The first 2 seasons are so good. I really liked Freak Show and Hotel, but I don't know. Coven was good. It was good. I liked Coven too. That would be probably. And, since I like the first 5 seasons, that would be, the 5th one or the 4th one. But, the first, 2nd, 4th, 5th, I don't know. I love the first 5 seasons. After that, it kind of just goes down for me. But,
they were so good.
So good. They were all just so interesting. And then we got to the political one. And I watched some of the... I watched that one.
That's the cult one.
Yeah. So that's season 7. That's right after season 6. So the cult... I believe I watched that. I honestly couldn't even tell you if I finished it. I probably did. Wait.
I did finish it, but it took me a long time.
Hold on.
So I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I didn't watch Apocalypse. I don't think.
So
I did.
What?
I think I did watch season 8 too.
Really?
I think so.
So I stopped watching after season 6. I watched every year from the first years that it came out. I was obsessed with the first season. I watched it. It was my comfort show. I literally loved it. And then season 7 came out. I really wasn't about it. I ended up not finishing it until almost a year later, when I was just finally okay, I just kind of want to know what happens. Then I ended up watching Apocalypse. I thought it was okay. I think this was during the time when all of the writers were being replaced. Then they did a 1984 for season 9, and 1984 was based off of 80s horror movies. It was okay, but again, after season 6, I just felt a major disconnect, And especially after Evan Peters left, because Evan Peters was the main reason why I watched the show, because Evan Peters is my...
Yeah.
He is my celebrity crush. He was my first
so
celebrity
cute.
crush, dude.
I think he reminded me of a guy I used to have a crush on when I was younger. Like, he just had that look, like that skater.
He has, like, that neighborhood guy down the street kind of look.
Yeah, like, I think he'd be the guy at the skate park that I had a crush on. Or the guy that lived, like, a couple towns away that I couldn't always see. Like, this one guy.
Dude,
I liked this one guy so much when I was little. I wanted to go see him so bad. I lived, like, 45 minutes away. I would go to, like, ends of earth and try to hang out with him. He was, like, he was a skateboarder.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God, I would... Yes.
I still would say that my celebrity crush is Evan Peters. And it's funny because growing up, all of these girls at my school, in, let's say, middle school and high school, they were all like, oh my God, Corbin Blue, he's so fucking cute.
Oh, Zac Efron all the way.
Yeah, there was Zac Efron.
Girl, I had a
He is a beautiful man.
I had a Troy Hart pillow. Don't play.
Oh my God, and then Ashton Kutcher, yes. Everybody was crushing on him from...
It was cute, but it wasn't like...
From that 70s show. Evan Peters was like the first guy who I was... Oh, he's hot.
He looks like the boy off Austin and Ally. That Disney Channel show.
Who is that?
You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, but who is that? Is that Ross?
Ross Lynch.
Oh my God, I knew something for once in my life.
Doesn't he look just like him? Like, they look similar.
He looks similar, but he's more, like, skinnier.
What's his name versus was Evan Peters?
Oh my God.
I already know people have done it.
Evan Peters is way hotter.
But look how that could be his little brother.
That could be his little brother, but Evan Peters...
I mean, yeah, I think Evan... But look at
his jawline is different. That's what's different. Look.
But look how similar it is, though.
It's similar.
They literally could be...
He has that square jawline.
Yes, I agree. But they look very similar.
Dude, Evan Peters, oh
like, when you're comparing
God.
people, they're very simpatico.
He is a...
Look, they both have done roles where they have to wear
He's a beautiful man.
So the season 6 one, the Roanoke one, that wasn't one of my favorite ones.
It's not one of my favorites,
but after that,
I liked it. I actually enjoyed it slightly.
But I liked season 7 and 8, I would say, better than season 6. But I think I stopped watching after season 8. Like, I don't think I've seen season 9, the one that was during the 1980s. So I've not seen season 9, 10, 11, 12.
I watched the new one with Kim K. I was very underwhelmed by the whole thing.
This newest one?
Yeah, the one with Kim K.
With Emma, whatever?
Yeah, I was not that impressed.
So it's not good.
I thought it was okay, but like I couldn't.
It's just not the same what it used to be.
Yeah, it's just a different vibe. Like I liked how horrifying season 1 was.
Maybe they're not allowed to make it as fucked up as it used to be.
No, it's different writers. There's different writers. There's been multiple writers who have left. So then different writers give it different energy.
Well, I wish the original writers were still there because they were fucking deeply disturbed.
Fucking good.
They were deeply disturbed because those seasons were messed up. Like, I didn't even know that. I don't know. I just feel like some of that shit was fucked up.
Yes.
The Asylum one was one of my favorite ones, though. Freaking, what was her name?
Sarah Paulson.
No, fucking. Oh my God. Play with me. One of the big heads.
Oh my God.
Pepper. And then whenever she started to be like smart one time and she was like, you're not gonna take that baby from me, I'm gonna get that baby. She just started talking like, but every other day she's like, oh yeah, Pepper. Like, oh my God, Pepper was one of my favorite. She'd come up and give you like, hi. Oh my God, I loved The Asylum. The first 2 seasons were so good. You don't remember what she looks like?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh my God.
I think it's the person in my head, but I don't know. Oh my God, yes!
Pinhead or something, yeah.
Oh my God.
Whenever she starts talking smart to them, oh my God, I remember that episode. I remember I was dying laughing because she was going off, like she was making that guy feel so stupid, like, because they treat her like she's stupid, and when she's really not, she just doesn't have the capability to like speak, but she's really smart, you know what I mean?
The setting of the Cortez Hotel, the haunted Cortez Hotel, which is a fictional hotel, draws inspiration from the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, which has been renamed. We will get into that later. It is infamous for many suicides, murders, disappearances and housing serial killers like Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker. We'll be getting into all of these stories as we go. It's also loosely based off of H. Holmes' Murder Castle, a real-life 19th century Chicago hotel with secret rooms, traps, and built by a serial killer known as H. Holmes, who was also featured in American Horror Story Freak Show as well. Here is a very in-depth look at American Horror Story Season 5. We're going to talk about the cast, the filming inspiration, and some of the characters before we get into all of the stories. So if you're not aware of American Horror Story Season 5, I kind of want to give you a little overview before we kind of get into everything. So, the Hotel Cortez, an iconic hotel based on the real-life Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. The Cecil has a very dark history. As we go along, we're going to talk about the infamous case of Eliza Lamb in 2013. Then the James Oviatt building is where the exterior shots of the Hotel Cortez was filmed, which is a 1920s Art Deco skyscraper known for its opulent design. Its interiors provide the perfect backdrop for the show's very eerie atmosphere. One of my most favorite characters in American Horror Story Season 5 is the transgender woman played by Dennis O'Hare, Liz Taylor. Such a good actor. And he stated that he was really working to portray Liz with respect and dignity for all of the trans people out there just living their life. If you haven't seen Liz Taylor, you should totally look up some of her outfits. They're pretty interesting. I love the wardrobe. They did so good.
Yeah, I know, I love it.
And then there are also scenes featuring Lady Gaga with her in this kind of like white room. And it's like where the vampire children were held.
Yeah. That's their room.
Yes, so this was actually shot in the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, the LACMA, which this features Lady Gaga with a artistic flair to the show's very haunting visuals. So that's where the White Room was filmed. And the season was actually filmed through several months of 2015, and it was mostly taking place on a Hollywood soundstage to do the inside of the hotel sets, so in the bedrooms type things. And then the set design of the Hotel Cortez was supposed to reflect a sinister history and aspect to each room and hallway, so all would contribute to the show's dark aesthetic, which was done beautifully, by the way. Cast and characters, we have Lady Gaga as the Countess, the glamorous yet deadly vampire hotel owner. So, what did you think of Lady Gaga's acting in that? Because a lot of people said she was really bad, but I thought she was...
Her. I think she was good for what she was doing. I don't know what they expected her to do, but I feel like her acting for like a vampire in the way she did it, I thought she did good. Like, to be sexy and seductive, and that was like what, I mean, literally they would like find couples and just, you know, have fun with them. And
the foursome scene, I fucking loved that scene.
But they probably did that all the time. That just lets you, like, that's something they do all the time. And it's just normal, you know? I thought she did good. Honestly, I think if she was in more, she'd do really good.
I love her acting. I love her singing. Her new album, Mayhem.
I thought she looked good too with the, like, all the white, like her hair being as white as it was. God, she looks so good.
She
like,
looks so good.
And then all her clothing, like, God, why can't that be normalized?
She looks so good in like every wig. Like she said that wigs give her the sense of beauty that she craves, because she was just like, I can work out to the point where I'm skinny as fuck and I'm not gonna feel beautiful. I'm just not. She was like, what makes me feel beautiful is doing different makeup looks and having different hair. Because she was like, that hair gives me that confidence of looking fearless.
That damn blonde hair was...
She looked fucking
I wish my hair looked like that.
I wish I could pull off any color hair.
And then her skin wasn't like super pale. It was like a perfect neutral color.
She can pull off any look.
She's
literal queen. Dude,
She's more meat on her body, so
dude,
yeah.
I was actually looking at tickets to see her this year because Eric was like, for your birthday, I want to buy you concert tickets to either a concert, going on, down the street from where we live, or he said, anybody else who you would want to see, just let me know. So then I was like, ooh, I'm going to look at tickets to Lady Gaga. So I looked, and the cheapest tickets I could find, like the cheapest, was $300 in Miami. That was the cheapest. So we would still have to get plane tickets. We would have to get a hotel. It would just be a whole thing. So I don't know if I can do that, but Eric was like, dude, you could fucking pay $400 and go to Lost Land for 4 days than to pay $300 for like 2.5 hours of a concert.
Or you could do like Electric Forest.
I love her
I
so
also worry
much.
that she's a part of the bad people too.
She
Which makes
probably
me sad.
is, but fine, she can hypnotize me. I love her.
I know, that's what makes like Abacadabra. Like literally, all the songs are basically in our face. I feel like we don't even realize it that it's like.
I realize it.
But I'm saying people don't realize like it is like that
Mind
song,
control.
in a sense. Like and then we're all singing it back.
I love it.
And
I'm obsessed with it. I listen to it every day, dude.
I do, but I'm saying like imagine the power that it holds with that many people singing it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's a little bit different when you're singing it at home and stuff, but
With the thousands and millions
that
of
would
other
be,
people.
that's where they get that fucking energy, I feel like.
It's like an energy ritual.
Fucking sucking that shit out of you, bruh. And then don't be touching people's elbows. Okay? Everybody did that during COVID. Do not swap destinies.
Destinies.
Destiny swapping. It's literally in, like, New Orleans. People, they will try to, like, hit elbows with you. And it's called destiny swapping. So essentially you're switching, like, lives. Like, the luck that you have. Like, the good fortune. Like, the things
What
that
the
you've been
fuck? I have no idea about this.
So someone was like, damn. So during COVID, everybody was fucking swapping destinies. Like, we're like, because during COVID, you didn't shake hands. And I'm like, and I did touch elbows sometimes with people. And if you look it up, it's in like a New Orleans thing. Like locals will try to get you to touch elbows with them, so you can like they can take your good energy, and then they'll give you whatever bad juju they've been having upon them or something. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah. And some guy knew about it. He's like, I'm not touching your elbow. And this guy's like, yeah, touch my elbow. And it's like it's a real thing. So destiny swapping, yeah. So just be mindful.
More power to you, the more you know.
Yeah.
Fuck, I did not know that. I'm never touching elbows with anybody again.
Destiny swapping, yep. I was thinking about it, and I just saw Chopper do an elbow with some guy yesterday.
Oh, God.
It was like,
you're like, don't do that.
It was someone he would have wanted to hit elbows with.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, damn, Chopper, you just hit that elbow with that guy. And then, so did he. I'm like, I don't know. They just all did some weird energy swapping there. And then I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, and then I told him about it afterwards. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't have touched his elbow.
Oh my God.
I'm such a weirdo. He probably thinks all the things that he's looking at all this shit.
I'm superstitious as fuck, so now that I know, see, the more you know, more power to you.
Take that with what you will.
Well, we still have a few more characters before we get into all the true crime aspects of this episode, but we have, as you already said, Evan Peters, portrayed as Mr. March, a 1920 serial killer, and the hotel's original owner before Lady Gaga. Peters returns to this series after starring in all previous seasons. We have Sarah Paulson, my female crush. I fucking love her so much. Played Hypodermic Sally, a drug-addicted ghost. Her character was a fan favorite. So Sarah Paulson her character Sally, was killed off in episode 9 of American Horror Story and was later resurrected in a later season of The Apocalypse by her fellow witches. So that is why her character was killed off, and then she was resurrected in another season. So then we have Kathy Bates. Love Kathy Bates. She returned to this series as Iris, a hotel employee with a mysterious past. She was the one whose son was a drug addict with Sarah Paulson. So she was like blaming Sarah Paulson for his death. She ends up dying later on in the series to become a ghost at the hotel. She was the front desk.
So her son is the one that's with Lady Gaga. That, like, before they break up.
Yep.
Like, he's a vampire.
Yep.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, in a sense, that's why she, like, is okay with it, because her son's like that, so she helps him do all this stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, she helps him, they get to do whatever they want, basically, and her son. I mean, honestly, he was more attractive with that eyeliner. In a weird way.
Oh, and then Finn Wittrock. Oh my god. Wittrock.
God,
Sorry.
he was fucking nuts, dude. And him being crazy, honestly, made him less attractive. Dandy in Freak Show. And
I love the doctor.
the fact that I know his name in this show, episode, like, in this season, tell you his name is Dandy.
You know, I didn't know that Joseph Fiennes was in this, though. Who the fuck is he?
Yeah, what do you mean? He was, like, what was his role in, does it say it right here?
Wait. I think it's not.
Oh, he's the priest or something. He's the priest. Yeah, he's the priest in Asylum.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, he wasn't in season 5. That's crazy. Okay, because this was in the cast for season 5, and I was like,
maybe
no,
they just have everybody that's in American Horror Story on there.
Okay. Then we already said Matt Bomer. He played Donovan, the former lover of the Countess, who becomes entangled in the other people who died in the season 5 hotel. And then we also have Cheyenne Jackson, a beautiful man, portrayed Will Drake, a fashion mogul who renovates the hotel, unknowingly releasing the dark forces within the rooms. So here's a brief overview of why 3 of the characters who we all know and love left American Horror Story. Jessica Lange, who was starring in the first 4 seasons, Murder House, Asylum, Coven, and Freak Show, chose not to return for season 5. She cited that the demanding nature of the show's schedule is a primary factor. They did have to do a lot of filming at night, and explained that this is a 6-month commitment every year, and she said that she wanted more time to herself. So Jessica Lange did return for other series that she had been a part of previously, but she did not rejoin American Horror Story after season 4. And we have Evan Peters, the lovely Evan Peters, took a break from American Horror Story after season 8. He expressed that portraying these intense and dark characters was taking a toll on his mental health.
Oh, I bet it was.
Yeah, I mean, he's played a lot of dark characters in his life, and he's really good at it. Like, he's insanely good at it.
To the point to where probably you start to really be that character. Like, I've heard a lot of that stuff within actors, that they literally can become that person that they're acting, and they they don't even remember who they are at one point, because they're acting and having these so many parts that they just don't.
They're like channeling
it's like Jim Carrey. Like, he literally said, I don't even know who Jim Carrey is. That's a character.
Yeah,
because he's been just acting and having this persona so long, and it worked. So, like, that funny, giddy self, like, that really wasn't his original self. He just found that, and then he knew it worked, and he went with it, and that just became who he was known for. Mm-hmm. And he's like, that's a character, Jim Carrey.
Oh my god, that's nuts.
So you gotta think, like, acting can just mess with people. Like, so these dark roles, I mean, I know that fucking affected him, and the fact that he did so many, I'm glad he took a break.
Just thought of this.
I'm glad he took a break.
Remember how Kim K says that she channels Marilyn Monroe? Maybe that's what these actors are doing. They're channeling that
Well, they
dark
do.
energy.
No, they do. I've heard about that as well. I heard that...
Because Evan Peters played Dahmer, and then he said no more horror for a while. Like, that was too much.
Well, yeah, I've actually really do talk... I forget what actor did it, but they do talk about doing it. They will channel certain things to be better. Supposedly they channel the spirit for accuracy of the role.
That's crazy. American Horror Story?
No, just in general.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Actors will do this for roles.
Whoa.
For, like, intense roles. They will literally channel shit.
That's
like,
crazy.
Energies to be better in that role. I've heard that. Like, that's actually, like, I've heard that. I don't know where, but I've heard.
Evan Peters says that these roles were mentally draining, and he says it was hurting my soul. It was hurting Evan as a person. He referred to himself in third person. It's kind of crazy.
Well, Evan Peters, because there's probably other things that he's channeled that have taken over him, and he needs to fucking cleanse his body.
Post AHS, Peters has since explored other projects, saying that he would like to portray characters in a completely different genre, aiming to showcase being able to be versatile in other aspects of acting. So then we have Sarah Paulson, the last person who we all know and love in American Horror Story. She left after season 6, Roanoke. She said that she felt very underwhelmed by the material in Roanoke, especially after her acclaimed role as Marcia Clark in The People versus O.J. Simpson. She said that she described feeling very trapped by her obligations, and she wished that she could have opted out of this season. And she did return for season 7 of Cult and later appeared in 1984 season. She also starred in the miniseries Mrs. America and is also set to return for American Horror Story double feature. So that's something to look forward to. I love her acting. And behind the scenes, just a few facts. Despite Lady Gaga's musical background, they did not feature any of her music in season 5. This is also an interconnected universe because the show's continued tradition of interconnecting other characters and events from previous seasons also makes subtle appearances. And the show creators drew inspiration from real-life horror stories and blending them with fictional elements to create a very chilling narrative. So here are the real-life crimes and figures that influenced season 5. We have the Ten Commandments killer, known as H.H. Holmes, played by Evan Peters as James March. Evan Peters' character, a 1920s hotel serial killer, is linked to H.H. Holmes, who murdered his guest in Murder Castle. The twist in the show showcases the Ten Commandments gimmick, which was fictional, but based off of Holmes' real-life torture chambers, which were just as gruesome as they were in the show.
Thank God they actually didn't do that real crap.
Mm-hmm. Some of it was real, though. Some of it was based off of true events.
Yeah, I know, but the parts that they showed isn't exactly the torture they got.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Probably much worse. Then we have the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. This was the addiction demon and Sally. So Richard Ramirez appears as a ghost in the hotel because he really did stay at the Cecil Hotel in the 1980s, and Sarah Paulson's junkie ghost mirrors the Cecil Hotel's dark history of addicts and sex workers who die in the hotel.
So that thing was him?
Mm-hmm.
So what did he do then?
What, Richard Ramirez?
Yeah.
I have a whole segment on that in just a moment.
That's what I thought. I was like, I've watched this whole fucking season, but I didn't know that there was little pieces based off of stuff, so.
Yeah.
They made it weird. They fucking made that shit weird. That's what I'm talking about. That was good. That was not. No way, no one does that shit. Where's the suit? That is so fucked up. I hate that scene.
Which scene? The first one?
He does it all the time. Fucking that little fucker always fucking with people. This is the demon. And that girl loves it. She's like, he loves it.
So then the Devil's Night Dinner scene features serial killers such as Gacy, Dahmer, Richard Ramirez, which is the real-life horror behind Mayhem and the Dead. So who was Dead? Dead was actually a person. His name was, I can't even pronounce it, Olin. That's all I'm gonna say. It's Per Yingiv Olin.
Olin.
His stage name was Dead because he said that he felt like he was already dead. He was a deeply troubled artist who embraced nihilism, self-harm on stage, and said that he would bury his clothes and unearth them so he could smell like death. In 1991, he decided to end his life and left a suicide note apologizing for the mess, writing, "Excuse all of the blood." The aftermath of Dead's death, actual death, cultivated the Mayhem's evil image, bringing the crime scene photo as the album cover of Dawn of the Black Hearts. Do not look at this album cover. Unless you want to be fucking grossed out and you like looking at fucked up shit. So, season 5's Devil Night episode features the fictional Swedish black metal band, which is implied to be this Mayhem's, like their Dawn of the Dead Black Hearts album. Sorry, Dawn of the Black Hearts album. So, they're saying, theorists are saying that this mirrors the real life chaos of the fictional Swedish metal band. So, moving on. Then we have the Countess Lady Gaga, which is Elizabeth Bathory, and also influenced by vampire lore. Lady Gaga's blood drinking, and the Countess was inspired by Elizabeth Bathory, which is a 16th century Hungarian noblewoman who allegedly bathed and drank virgin's blood. And her costume style was supposed to mirror old Hollywood glamour, such as Marlene Dietrich in silent vampire films. You should totally look up Marlene Dietrich in silent vampire movies and just look at images. It's totally replicating that old Hollywood glamour that Lady Gaga was emulating during the season. Then we also have the real life addiction demon, which is based off of real drug epidemics. The demon's drill penny torture symbolizes the LA's 1980s crack epidemic, which is tied to the Cecil Hotel's ties to addictions. Other dark inspirations, we have Room 64, which is the room where people would die, which references Room 1408 in Stephen King's cursed hotel rooms and real-life haunted hotel rooms. And the children ghosts echo La Lorna legends and the Cecil Hotel's tragic child deaths. So how much of Hotel was true? Hotel exaggerates the supernatural and its core horrors such as serial killers, addicts, and also having many scenes showing like the urban decay, which is rooted all in real LA history, and the Cecil Hotel's dark past could alone fill a whole season of shit. So, in the Roaring Twenties, the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles blossomed over the glow of the Hollywood's golden age, which was when this new hotel arose in the heart of downtown known as the Cecil Hotel, which opened in 1927, designed to cater to businessmen and travelers at the dawn of the city booming, basically. It had a very elegant French art style to the hotel, and it seemed like the perfect place to stay. By the 1930s, the Great Depression plunged the Cecil Hotel into decay, and its once glamorous lobby became a refuge for addicts, sex workers, and those teetering on the edge of society, and the deaths soon began after 1931. Here's a little timeline of the horrors that happened in the hotel. In 1931, a guest overcome by despair of losing their job swallowed poison in his room, which is the first recorded suicide in the hotel. Then we have the year the Cecil Hotel earned its grim nickname as the Suicide Hotel. In 1962, Pauline Otten, a woman known for feeding pigeons on the rooftop, leaped from her window, landing on an elderly pedestrian below. Their bodies tangled in the sidewalk. Just months later, a woman dubbed Ocean Bird for her nautical suicide note also jumped from the same floor. So Pauline Otten is kind of based off of Sally, Sarah Paulson's character, who also jumped from the same story.
And that's why she's always in that room.
Yep, because that's where she died.
That's their freaking room.
That's crazy.
That's why they send certain people to that room when they come and check in. That lady is messed up for helping them out. She lets them all the demons and ghosts live their life.
Mm-hmm. Then we have the 1980s Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, checked into the Cecil Hotel under many fake names, and he returned to his rooms between murders, staining clothes and blood sheets in the Cecil Hotel's corridors. So he would like hide blood-stained clothes in there, and like they would just wash it. That's why there was that one maid lady who was always washing the sheets.
Why would they do that?
Because it was a different time. It was the 1980s. The police were not as efficient or as organized as they are now.
But it's like you see blood on a damn shirt, you don't just wash it. What the fuck? Especially if it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, but the police were not as organized or like really checked into things.
Well,
the LAPD
they wouldn't even know because the maids were like, "I'm gonna clean this."
Mm-hmm, because they didn't. The maids were a part of the secrecy too. The Cecil Hotel, yeah, like there's a lot of dark shit that happened in this hotel that continues to happen. Which we also have the 1991 Australian serial killer Jack Underwoodger stayed here in the Cecil Hotel while strangling sex workers, later writing about his killings in his prison memoir. Then we have the 2013 Eliza Lamb disappearance, the chilling elevator footage of her final moments, and her body later found in the water tank, which we will talk about a little bit more in depth later. Then there was the supernatural stain. Housekeepers whispered that room 404 is where guests would walk into their rooms with a sensation of hands around their throat. Some guests would swear that they heard a woman sobbing in the empty hallways. Perhaps it was Pauline Otten's ghost?
Maybe. Huh. I thought it would hear me better. Honestly, you telling me all these things is just mind blowing to me. So it's just interesting.
I didn't know all of this stuff, and I've always wanted to research this season.
Well, it's good for me to know. You know, and me to kind of be learning.
Yeah. I'm teaching her. She gonna learn today.
I've watched all these damn seasons, so like I'm like kind of re-going through the scenes in my brain to like remember like what and stuff, like how they're doing it. So it's very creative that they did this. Very creative.
Yeah, the writers did an insane job of putting this together.
But the way they put it together, very creative, because I didn't know like that like literally like them all sitting together. I didn't know this all was purpose. I didn't know who these people were.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've watched season 5 so many times. It was like my comfort season. I always knew it was gonna happen. I found Lady Gaga's acting very like sexy. I love her.
I wouldn't say I had like favorite characters like I did in all the other seasons, but it was just very good. It was very made. It was made very well.
Lady Gaga, Evan Peters, and Sarah Paulson, my favorite actors of that series.
Yeah,
for sure.
They're amazing. I just didn't like the fucking drill dude. God, that whole
demon, the addiction demon.
I didn't know even his name. I just called him. I didn't know what the fuck he was.
I didn't know either, but that's kind of funny that we're piecing it together.
Yeah, this is fun.
Well, in the Cecil Hotel's real-life crimes and dark history, now we'll talk about what happened with Eliza Lamb. Eliza Lamb was a Canadian student who vanished while staying at the Cecil Hotel. Her body was later found in the hotel's water tank after guests complained of black water. The elevator footage, which we actually watched before we started recording this episode, shows her behavior acting very erratically, hiding, waving her arms, almost as if she's talking to something, but you can't see anything there. And theories are out there that she was just having a mental health crisis, but others say that there was foul play involved and there had to be supernatural causes at play as well. So the connection here is with the Countess victims that are stored in the hotel's water system. If you remember, they took the 2 models from the beginning and they were placed in water tanks with their blood going to the children. Yep, that's based off of the Cecil Hotel. I had no idea.
She would do whatever. She would never spend time with the kids, but did a lot for them.
Mm-hmm.
They were just really pretty to her.
They are really pretty
They
children.
They were pretty children. You have the white hair.
Very fair skin,
Yeah.
blue eyes. Then we have Richard Ramirez, who stayed at the Cecil Hotel many times. He was a satanic serial killer that murdered over 14 people between 1984 to 1985. He would leave pentagrams at crime scenes. He stayed at the Cecil Hotel and paid in cash under fake names. He appeared as a ghost in the hotel drinking with other serial killers on Devil's Night, which we are about to get into Richard Ramirez in just a second.
Yay! Death! I'm just kidding.
Then Pauline Otten, who jumped from the window, was noted as the Pigeon Goldie suicide. So she technically killed a pedestrian, so that's part of the lore of this hotel. There's multiple suicides and overdose. At least 16 deaths occurred there between jumpers and people ODing.
Well, it's just, I think it might have also been kind of like more people heard about the deaths there. They felt more comfortable going there. Like, it's like that bridge thing. You know what I'm talking about? How a lot of people go to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, I guess, like a place to go. Because.
And then in Japan, they have the suicide forest, so there's places all around the world.
I guess it's like people hear it. They just feel drawn to going to places that other people have done it. I don't know what makes them feel comforted going there.
Okay, so this actually happened to me. So there's something that I realized in college, which I will never forget, was I realized that I could read the energy of a place. And I didn't know that I had this ability before. But I was hiking in the woods somewhere along a coastal kind of forest in Pensacola. And I'm pretty sure it's called the Bluffs. I'm pretty sure. But it's like this little wooded, trailed area that's right on the eastern seashore, so where the sun rises. A lot of locals will go there to watch the sunrise and stuff. But I really decided this one time while I was in college. I was doing this alone as a freshman, by the way. Very stupid. But I decided to go into this deep part of the woods that I'd never been before because I just wanted to explore. I love hiking. And oh my god, as I'm saying this right now, I've had this like super high ringing in my ears. That's crazy.
They say not to ignore that. I've heard that.
They're listening.
No, that's you tuning into something. I learned that. Like,
oh my god.
So don't ignore it.
Okay. So here's what happened. I went deep into the woods. I'm walking, and I just got to this one place that I felt sick to my stomach. I literally felt like I was going to throw up, and I felt scared, and I felt like there was like someone around me, and I started kind of like panicking, and I started running. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I feel really scared, like I should be scared for my life right now. And I just start running through the woods, and I finally get to my car. I'm having like a full-on like panic attack, and then like something snaps in my brain, and I'm like, did something bad happen here? Like, did something really fucking bad happen here where I just was? And I look it up, and 2 years earlier, a college student from the same college that I went to had been stabbed to death by a homeless man deep in the woods in the Bluffs. Was I fucking in the same spot? Like, what the fuck? Like, why did I feel like I was scared for my life?
Well, what about, like, what that girl was saying in that TikTok video about, like, you saw something that triggered your reaction to be scared?
I guess because it was like, I was walking forever until I got to this one spot.
But what if it didn't want you to go there? What if there was something else there?
What if, yeah, I mean, the homeless person was jailed for, like, 20 years,
but
so it's
I'm
not like he
saying,
was
like,
out.
That girl said, like, you aren't getting fazed by the reaction that it's wanting you to have, which was to be scared. Mm-hmm. So something must have triggered you, something that you've been seeing unknowingly for years, and then it triggered you to be scared and then you just didn't go further.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy because,
that's another way to think about it too. It was just like, only because I see that girl that was doing the car thing, she was trying to explain it.
Yeah, there's a TikTok that's kind of going a little viral right now of a girl who's taking a video of, she said, it's a dead-end road. It's a dead-end road, but all of these cars start coming from it, and then she starts being able to call the colors of the cars. She was like,
she's basically saying, like, you will see a color your whole life, and it'll be resonated with something, but you will unknowingly not realize that you looked at that color and would basically and like recognize it to like a traumatic event. So you see this color, boom, you're feeling that emotion of that traumatic event because that color has been present in every moment of those events. So now they can use colors to trigger you emotionally.
That's crazy.
Like, because you don't, it's an unknowing because they can't be mind control if you know what's happening. Mm-hmm. So you're unknowingly getting a trigger by the color. That's why colors are so powerful.
Wow.
Like, there's, like, ancient colors that are better. Like, there's certain colors that are meant to do. She's like, that's why the red kept coming. She's like, red's my trigger color. Red kept, like, the amount of red cars she kept seeing was not normal. Whoa. I watched the whole video. Like, the one you reposted was, like, a reshare. I went to her page.
I didn't know there was a longer video. That's
yeah,
crazy.
It was, like, an even longer video of it.
Wow. I'll have to look at that later.
And, yeah. So, it was weird. The way she was describing it. So it made me think, like, what if you saw, like, a trigger color or something trigger, like, that made you feel that emotion? And that's, I'm not saying that is right, but that could have been something.
Yeah, because that's when, that time when I freaked out in the woods and I really thought that, like, somebody was, like, after me, even though there most definitely wasn't. I know that there was nobody following me, but it was just that feeling of being watched and almost hunted in a way. I don't know how to explain it.
That's weird.
All I know is that also, later on, I don't know if this was in the same spot, but when I went back towards that way with a friend one time, because I was like, I don't want to go alone, so I went with, sorry, it was not a friend, it was my ex, but we went deep into the woods, and we actually found a cross with the girl's name on it and flowers, but I didn't see that in that same spot, but it was over that way.
Maybe you just felt it.
I guess.
I mean, that's also a thing. You feel it. You felt the bad energy.
I felt maybe...
You felt her energy that's stuck in the forest.
And that's fucking crazy, though, that, like, when I just started talking about it, I got this super high ringing in my ears. Like, I was like...
They say not to ignore that. They say that's your higher power connecting with you.
That's crazy.
You should look into that. I just learned about that recently.
Dude.
The ringing is a good thing.
So, I've looked into the ringing on TikTok, and there's different theories about it. There's people saying that they thought that the ringing was not them tuning into something, but something tuning into you.
That's what I'm saying. Don't ignore it. Like,
I don't
ignore
ignore
it.
it.
Higher powers trying to reach you, essentially.
I've heard people say that they think it's aliens. I heard people say that it's actually spirits.
Whatever it is, it's the higher thing that's controlling the fucking matrix.
It happens to me multiple times a week where I'll hear that ringing.
Or it's your higher conscious and you're connecting with it.
When I hear that ringing and I'm alone, sometimes I will literally be like, hello?
Basically, I would say whatever you're doing, like, don't ignore, like, keep on going.
Oh my god.
Accept it.
When we talk about the Ten Commandments killer based on the real-life H.H. Holmes, real-life inspiration of the murder castle was known as the America's first serial killer in Chicago in 1893, who built a hotel known as the Murder Castle that had secret rooms, gas chambers, and chutes to the basement's crematorium. Estimated victims are either 27 to 200, mostly women at the World's Fair. And Holmes Murder Castle inspired the Hotel Cortez trapdoors, hidden rooms, and the Ten Commandments gimmick, which was fictional but based off of H.H. Holmes. H.H. Holmes lies from prison in multiple confessions. We're going to dive into his twisted mind for a second. H.H. Holmes is most definitely a narcissist, and you will learn that very quick into this. So, his Philadelphia confession in 1895 in Moyamensing Prison in Philadelphia, he admitted to 27 murders, including Benjamin Peitzel and his 3 children. He detailed killings of lovers, employees, business advocates. He said, "I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than a poet can help the inspiration to sing." That's weird.
What the fuck?
He later retracted parts of his confessions, saying that he was having some sort of amnesia. And in his autobiography, written before he was executed, titled Holmes' Own Story, which is a mix of truths, lies, and melodrama. He insisted that he accidentally killed Benjamin Peitzel's 3 children. He said that he was not a monster but a misunderstood genius, and said, "I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer." Which, that plays into the theory that some people are not genuinely born good. Some people are born evil. Which some people like to say, no, we're all born good. Honestly, I think that there's so many environmental factors that play into the fact whether you are born good or if you're born bad. So there's children out there who are violent.
Like, I just watched this. It was the. Oh my god. I just watched this, like, mini series. Like, basically, those episodes of, like, the death row serial killers that will, like, finally confess about what they did, potentially, because he's the oldest serial killer there was. He was, like, the guy that killed people when they were hiking. Did you ever hear about him? I don't know his name right now, but you can look him up. He's, like, on death row right now. He's the oldest serial killer alive. He actually went to national parks, and he would stalk women, and he would kill them. And he is now openly talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, he's finally admitting to things that were never...
Gary Michael Hilton?
Yep.
Oh.
Gary
Hilton.
And
the National Forest serial killer, which we will most definitely add to the list.
He's finally now, to this day, finally admitting to some of the murders that were never figured out. I don't know, what were you saying that made me think of him?
The 200 victims.
I don't even know what you said, but something made me think about that. I don't even know what I was getting to.
No, that's crazy. No, I didn't even...
What made me think of that?
Dude, I didn't even know about him.
Well, there's, like, this part thing going on, and he's the oldest guy alive, and he's, you know...
That's
finally,
crazy.
he feels... Oh, okay, I remember now. Sorry. Basically, he was saying that since he was a kid, he has always been fascinated with, like, death and stuff, and blood, and... He was just basically saying he's always had a fascination with stuff like that, and he's just always known he's been, like, not good, and then he didn't have the best upbringing, like, not his life, but his self, like, his life wasn't cool, like, he didn't have a good job, couldn't keep a steady job, couldn't keep a girlfriend, like, so he just wasn't happy, so basically, he just lost it, but he basically had said that it was always there, the bad thoughts and stuff. It wasn't until something that made him, like, and that's when he just started to, he said that made him feel good when he did it to the women. I don't know. It was messed up. He's done it he explains it, what he does to these people, and he's done it to a couple, people when they're hiking. Like, imagine just getting, like, attacked by an old guy. Like, this guy, he was in his 50s when he started doing it.
That's crazy. I did not know about him, so I'm glad that we've added him to the list, because we can cover him in depth later.
I guess you never know how they grow up. Like, he probably just had bad thoughts his whole life and held it in, and then there was enough to just make in society. Mm-hmm. He wasn't making it in society, and he just cracked, and it was like, you know.
Nature versus nurture. They say that if you nurture your child, they don't turn out that way. But if you just leave your child to nature, they turn out.
I think he just eventually turned out to what he thought. The bad thoughts he thought his whole life turned to real. And then I think the only time he felt joy was probably when he was doing that. Well, he also, the reason he said he did it was because he didn't have money. So if he was going by without food and stuff, instead of just, like, asking money for help or something, he would just kill somebody and take their stuff.
Oh my god.
And then do other fucked up shit. And he talks about it with, like, no remorse, really.
I can't wait to look into this later. I had no idea about this.
I just saw videos about it on TikTok, and I was like, wow. Because, like, some people are so cool. They gave me a 3-part series, and these videos on TikTok, they were long. Couple, like, 10 minutes. I'm watching it. It was good. Like, not good. Like, it was just not, I'm sorry. It was interesting. I get interesting to know the minds of, like, people that do fucked up shit, because I would never understand it, but he didn't have, I don't think he had a bad life.
We love story talk. That's what we love.
Yep.
The stories, I fucking love it. But, sorry, when it comes to Holmes, he did say that he had 200 plus victims, and he sold that to newspapers. But in reality, there were probably a maximum of 27 victims. Specific victim accounts Holmes preyed on women, children, and business partners, and here are some of the most chilling confirmed murders. We have Julia and Pearl Connor from 1987 to 1989. Holmes' mistress and pharmaceutical assistant was Julia Connor, and after she became pregnant, Holmes performed a very botched abortion on her and then locked her in a soundproof vault to suffocate her. And Pearl, Julia's 7-year-old daughter, died by Holmes's hands as he strangled her and then sold her skeleton to a medical school.
Oh my god.
In 1889, yeah. Then another victim is Emmeline Singrande.
Oh
Singrand? Emmeline? I love that name, Emmeline. Emmeline Singrand. In 1892, a stenographer who Holmes hired and also seduced, last seen entering his office. Her fate was she was likely gassed and dissected, and her remains were never found. They suppose that she was burned. Then we have Benjamin Pitzel and his children in 1894. Holmes' accomplice in an insurance fraud. Holmes killed him with chloroform and then staged his death as a lab accident. Holmes promised his widow that he would take their 3 children, Alice, Nellie, and Howard, to meet their father. Instead, he drugged and suffocated them in a trunk and locked them in a sealed room to suffocate. So, sorry, Alice died by being suffocated in the trunk, but Nellie and Howard were locked in a sealed room and suffocated.
Like a tiny room, probably, then?
Mm-hmm. Then we have Minnie Williams in 1893, a wealthy secretary who Holmes also seduced, convinced her to sign over her property, and pushed her down a staircase and then dismembered her. Then we have Robert Latimer in 1895, a former employee of the hotel who threatened to expose him, was found in a room due to a gas leak, which was one of his signature killing methods.
Like,
and we have unresolved questions about everything because there were multiple missing bodies, but many victims were never able to be identified. They suppose that the crematorium in the basement held many victims that were, just lost to history.
Yeah, never identified.
And then we have Holmes hiding his trophies in the walls before he tried to burn some of these rooms down, but apparently he would hide bones and jewelry in the walls. He also claimed that he destroyed the blueprints to the hotel, but it's speculated that he gave someone these copies, which are being circulated on like black market sites and things like
that. For what, though?
People would be trying to recreate these murder rooms in their own homes.
Oh, like blueprints for the murder rooms.
Yeah, so
for like the actual murder hotel.
Yeah. They say that these blueprints are still circulating on the black market and people will try to use his methods for their own homes.
Yeah, this world's fucked up.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Becca.
Oh my god. And Holmes' final words on May 7th, 1896. Holy shit, that was just a few days ago. May 7th. How many years ago was this? I can't do math, hold on.
1996 and 1896. Well, I'll be 29 this year, so that's why, but technically I'm 28 still. So okay. 29 would be accurate.
Yeah. So it's 129 years.
Boom, I didn't even need the calculator, bitches. Well, because 1986, I just add my actual age because I was born in 1996.
See, I don't do math right now, so.
But if you were born in 96, you would think of that, right?
Yeah.
1896 to 1996, 100 years. Boom. And then you add, and after that I was born, I'm 28. Boom! And then I'll be 20 this year. Yeah, I'm older.
I don't even think about my age, dude.
Well, you will.
I don't.
You will start to. I didn't.
Age is just a number.
You will start to think about it. And
if I say age is just a number, I'm referring to me and my man. We're like 10-year age gap, but like to be honest, it doesn't feel that way ever. And I really just try not to even focus on my age at all because I just, like, I feel I already have an old soul anyway, and I don't need to prove to people that I do. I just know that I do. So, but anyways, super random. But
I just feel like I wasted so much damn time. I should have been traveling before. That's what I think about. I wasted so much time. 20s.
I don't think that. I think everything led me to this moment where I'm at right now, and I don't think of it in any way that I should have been different at all. I mean, yes, there's shit that I could have
You
changed,
don't want
but
to go back and be a kid again?
I do, but I
You don't
don't.
think about
I really, I tap into my inner child all the time. I'm
be fun.
always,
Just to have a redo would be fun. It'd be cool. Not like to that would actually. It'd be cool to like be able to give the wisdom you have and
you
go
know,
back. You know.
I'm really thankful that I've started this podcast at this time in my life because in my early 20s, I would have been so stupid. Now I just have so much life experience and things behind me, and I just feel able to talk about it. So
Yeah,
that plays into this podcast.
You know, with age you get wisdom.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like to have the wisdom to give to your younger self is what I'm trying to say. So you'd
Yeah.
be able to be acting like this at a younger age because your older self would be like, "Bitch, this is how it is," and you listen because it's yourself rather than someone else. It's hard to listen to other people's advice.
I was talking to this guy a few weeks ago, and it's a conversation that I was just like, okay, that's like time stopping. Because he literally was telling me that he tries not to think about time. Because he was like, time is not a real concept.
It is not.
And he was just like, I try not to have to set alarms or whatever. He's like, I try to go to bed at a time where I know that I'm going to wake up really early in the morning because he's like, I'd rather not set an alarm. I would rather live outside of time than to be confined to it. And I'm like, that's fucking nuts.
I get that though, because time is constructed.
And he said that he'll go to bed at like 5 or 6 p.m. when it's still light outside. I'm like, how do you do that? And he goes, I try to relax my body in a way to where I know I'm going to be up really early. And he's like, I wake up by like 3, 4 a.m. I garden. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, and I got to be to work by 8 a.m. I just kind of like garden, fuck around outside with my dogs until I got to go to work. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's insane.
Huh. I mean, I get it. Hey, that work. Hey, that's cool though.
That's an interesting concept. He's like, I don't want to live inside of time.
Seem to be working.
I mean, he said that he never looks at the time, ever. He has a phone, but he's like, I don't use it very much.
Because every time you look at your phone,
he has no social media. Right there.
The time is on your phone, no matter what.
He has no social media.
That's like a big hit in the face. Every time you look, the time is there.
Yeah. So you're like living confined in time. Sorry, that was a total rabbit trail. But
no,
that was kind of crazy.
Cool. I get that.
It's cool. But
buzz.
Holmes' final words was, "Take your time, gentlemen. I'm in no hurry." Before his body was buried in concrete beneath 10 feet of soil.
What happened to him?
Like, how did he die?
I wonder. He probably got killed. He probably got, like, in trouble. And they buried him alive. That was, like, a form of torture, right? Back in the day.
Sorry. Okay, let me re-say this. He was executed by hanging, and his body was buried beneath concrete to prevent grave robbers and cult worship. So he died by hanging.
Wow.
Yep. It's crazy.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna cement his body in this bitch. Ain't nobody taking him up and doing some ritualistic shit. Oh my god.
So now we get into Richard Ramirez's crimes, whose crimes were actually portrayed in AHS season 5. So he killed men, women, and children, ages 6 to 62. There were satanic symbols and brutal attacks and police taunting, which, if you remember in season 5 of American Horror Story, we have the police officer who was played by Wes Bentley. Wes Bentley is literally so beautiful. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Tall, dark, and handsome.
For real, dude. And he played the cop who was being taunted by the murderer, And that ties into the murders, again, at the Cecil Hotel, which ties into the murders at the Hotel Cortez. Boom. And then we also have more about who Richard Ramirez was. So his full name, Ricardo Leyva Munoz Ramirez, born February 29th, a leap year baby, 1960. That's cool, because February is 28 days. He was born on the 29th.
Wow.
That's crazy. He died June 7th, 2013.
So he doesn't have a birthday?
What?
On 1 year?
Every 4 years he has a birthday.
But doesn't have it those other times?
Well, technically, yes, he gets another year older, but, like, not on the calendar.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's fucking cool.
Maybe that's what made him fucked up. Just kidding.
So then we have, when he died on June 7th, 2013, his signature traits was his obsession with satanic symbolism, like pentagrams he left at crime scenes. He would use hammers, knives, and guns. He targeted ages, 6 to age 82. 14 confirmed murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 SAs. He would break into houses at night, often through unlocked windows, killed men execution style, and sexually assaulted. Oh my god, I can't even say that word. Killed men execution style and SA'd women, sometimes forced victims to swear to Satan before killing them. He would leave pentagrams and drawn eyes, which was his calling card. His most notorious attacks were the Zazara murders in April of 1985. He killed a couple, ate their leftover dinner, and stole all of their jewelry. Then the Akasaki family in August of 1985. He killed a 6-year-old boy. Wait. He shot a 6-year-old boy in the face, although he did survive. The Cecil Hotel connection is showing a serial killer who would stay in the hotel, who paid in cash under fake names, and would bring victims' belongings back to his room. He was recognized by a civilian in East LA after his face aired on TV and a mob beat him before police arrived. In court, he yelled, "Hail Satan," flashed many pentagrams, and was sentenced to death, but died of B-cell lymphoma in 2013 before his execution. Some of his crimes entail: in June of 1984, he killed a 79-year-old Jenny Vinco in her LA apartment, stabbing her repeatedly and nearly decapitating her.
The fuck?
Yeah. In March of 1985, he shot Mi Lung in the face, as she did survive, but she was 9 years old.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have very much info on the
No, I'm
victims,
just curious. I mean, that's insane, though.
He had a Night Stalker modus operandi, so he would stalk victims, and his weapons were typically a .22 revolver, knives, hammers, or bare hands. He would often eat the food of the victims, would leave drawings, and a little info on the Zazara family. He broke into their home. He shot Peter, the husband, in the head while then torturing his wife before killing her. He ate all of their food, apparently.
He was a broke motherfucker, didn't have enough money. And he also took food and ate it, because that's probably... he was also hungry on top of the reason. He probably killed for that. And that was one of the reasons he killed, too. Like, not the main, but definitely pushed him.
While many people know that Ramirez is the Night Stalker, this Satan-worshipping serial killer who terrorized Los Angeles, some of his most chilling behaviors and crimes remained underreported. So here are some of the more rarely discussed details of his killing spree. So he liked to play dead with victims. So in May of 1985, after breaking into the home of Vincent and Maxine Lutz, Ramirez shot Vincent in the head and then pretended to be dead on the floor. When Maxine approached him, he lunged at her and then stabbed her repeatedly. And he told detectives later that he enjoyed inducing fear in the eyes of victims when they realized that he wasn't dead. So that's really fucked up.
Oh, he must have liked it, which is fucked up.
Yeah. He left a satanic Bible at one of the crime scenes after murdering a 79-year-old Mary Louise Cannon. He left a handwritten note inside of the stolen copy of the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey, a note that read, "Revel in the blood of the swine, Dr." Possible reference to Devil's Disciple Ramirez. The book actually became missing in the evidence.
Someone probably took it for themselves.
They believe that somebody who was a possible member of the satanic cult, probably also a member of the police force, stole it. That's what they
Probably. I mean, there's always a bad person that's working on the good side undercover. I feel like that's like in all kinds of stories. So.
Ramirez also collected eyeball souvenirs. He had an obsession with eyes. He gouged out Maxine Zazara's eyes and placed them on her chest post-mortem. In another attack, he carved an eyeball symbol into the victim's wall using a knife, speculating a reference to the Eye of Lucifer to taunt the police, saying that he's watching them. Just a theory.
Probably. I mean, that makes sense.
He also wore victims' clothing during attacks. He would steal the husband's shirt and wear it during his break-in. So sometimes he would, during the time while he's there, he would change into the husband's clothes. And when detectives asked him later why he did this, he said, "I liked the way the clothes fit." He also performed a black mass over one victim, murdering a 32-year-old Patty Higgins. He arranged her body in a pentagram shape, lit candles around her, and recited the inverted Lord's Prayer. Neighbors reported chanting and screaming that night, but did not call the police, and the crime scene photos were sealed and rumored to be too disturbing for trial.
They like he cut her into pieces and made her out of a shape.
Made her into a pentagram.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't even want to visualize that.
Yeah.
I am, and I don't want to be. I'm a visualizer.
Well, he was actually almost caught earlier, but the police dismissed key witnesses. In 1985 of July, a 13-year-old boy in San Francisco saw Ramirez breaking into a home, memorized his license plate, and when he told the police, they dismissed him, thinking that this was a prank. And that same night, Ramirez killed 2 more people. He at one point drank the blood of one of his victims after slashing the throat of a 40-year-old, Joyce Nelson. He said he drank her blood from the wound, and the coroners did report that there were saliva traces in her neck laceration, and when he was in prison later on, he said that it tasted like power.
So weird.
He used multiple fake identities, including a priest, to evade capture. Ramirez would dress as a priest and knock on doors asking for donations. If invited inside, he would most likely attack. One survivor said that he recited Latin verses before lunging at her to assault her.
Oh, well, at least she did something. I don't know what she did, but...
Ramirez also had several teeth that were decayed because his diet consisted of Snicker bars, Coke, and meth. Sometimes he would bite the victims, and dental records later linked him to several unsolved crimes. He believed Satan would protect him from his arrest, so he carried around a charm bag filled with human teeth, bones, and a satanic prayer. When finally caught, he screamed, "You don't understand. I don't fear man or God. And in jail, he drew pentagrams on his cell with feces.
Ugh. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He thought he was like a higher power or something.
There was some stuff that I seriously did not know about Ramirez until I did this research.
Fucking gross.
There's also lost satanic tapes where he apparently recorded messages to Satan on cassette tapes and would replay them. But the police apparently lost them in the evidence with the Satanic Bible.
Yeah, there were probably people were in on it there, dude.
Oh, for sure. And there were also unreleased crime photos saying that they were too graphic for court or for any human eyes. Why these details matter is because Ramirez was not just a killer, but he was a performer. He would craft his crimes to maximize terror. Also, little-known rituals, taunts, and trophies reveal that he was not just calculating, but he was pushing a devil worshipper narrative. So, here are just a few details on why he was the Night Stalker. He would case neighborhoods in stolen cars such as Toyotas, and he would find houses that were easily accessible with single women or elderly couples and homes with no dogs because he hated barking. So he would do daytime disguises. He would also pose as a utility worker or a salesman to interact with victims beforehand, before he broke into their house. Sometimes he would stalk for up to 3 days. Sometimes he would wear phone company uniforms stolen from laundromats. And he would knock on doors saying that he was here from the company to check their phone line. So he would use these tactics to get into houses.
I mean, that's insane.
He said sometimes he would wait in the house after midnight knowing that their victim would be returning shortly before he entered.
He'd be ready. He knew what he was doing, obviously.
Mm-hmm. He would park nearby houses for hours, watching when the lights would turn on and off, listening for TVs turning on and off, and also peeking through mail slots to see if there were any pets in the home. He used stolen cars. In 2 cases, he also went into the family's home and stole family photos for his actual attack. And then he would return them after he murdered the people. So he was looking at these pictures to get more of a feel for them. In one of the first break-ins, he actually took the wedding photo of the parents, and he left that photo propped up by the 6-year-old whom he shot in the face.
Just because.
Just to leave a message. It was weird.
Which was like, I can keep doing this.
One of the victims he knew returned after work at 1 a.m. He would wait by her home because he knew that she worked night shift. Neighbors reported a prowler in the area days before attacks, but police dismissed this because the police thought that whoever knew the victims was a friend of theirs, so they were ruling out people who were stalkers. They were ruling in people who were like friends of the family.
Oh, wow.
So he didn't meet the profile that they had at the time.
It's so annoying that they ignore people's calls.
And Ramirez would actually buy gloves from multiple different gas stations. So then he couldn't be tracked buying multiple pairs of gloves from the same establishment, because gas stations sell those black gloves.
I didn't know that. Black gloves. I had never seen that before.
And also, random fact, he would always buy candy with the gloves, assuming he would eat this beforehand. It's weird.
Or he mixed it in with the blood.
I don't know. When he was recognized by civilians in August of 1985, a crowd beat him until he became unconscious.
Should have killed him.
Yeah. He did die of cancer before his execution, and some believe that he had killed earlier, possibly in Texas. Others say that his satanic influence was making these killings more terrifying, and there was also many lost jewelry that ended up never being found. So they don't know if he pawned it off or if he buried it somewhere. Who knows? And if you want to watch a good documentary on this, go on Netflix to watch Night Stalker: The Hunt for a Serial Killer. Okay, now we're going to go back to H.H. Holmes and a little more details on the murder castle before we end it for this episode. So, while the Cecil Hotel's murders unfolded over the decades, H.H. Holmes, better known as Herman Webster Mudgett, built the murder castle with much precision. And here are some details on this house of horrors and the blueprints that are apparently still circulating for people to emulate today. So, Holmes began constructing a 3-story building on South Wallace Avenue. To outsiders, it was a bustling hotel and pharmacy, but behind its brick walls was an actual house of horrors. So Holmes designed every inch of his castle for murder. The rooms appeared to have windows, but they were actually windowless, soundproof chambers where victims, mostly young women, were locked in and gassed. There were secret chutes, tunnels in the bedrooms that led to the basement, where bodies slid down, mostly butchered. There were dissection tables underneath of some of the beds. So Holmes was a trained doctor who would strip flesh from bones and would sell the bones to medical schools for research.
Like, oh, no one questioned where they came from.
Nope.
Like, thank you so much, doctor.
And then we also have the vault, a walk-in safe where he suffocated people who trusted him most. As millions flocked to the World's Fair, he would lure guests in with very cheap rates, and they would never check out. Among confirmed victims, we have Julia and Pearl Connor, who is a mistress of his, and we already talked about her earlier. When the fair ended, Holmes ended up torching the castle for insurance money, but the fire revealed human remains that were in the ashes. So his birth name, Herman Webster Mudgett, born May 16th, 1861. Oh my god, I think he was a Gemini. Wait, no, he was a Taurus.
Toro.
Okay. And he died May 7th, 1896.
He died 100 years before I was born.
That's crazy. He also, as a child, showed signs of animal cruelty, was fascinated with skeletons. In medical school at the University of Michigan, he would steal cadavers to mutilate, disfigure, and stage fake deaths for insurance fraud. He used his alias, H.H. Holmes, as an alias to distance himself from his criminal past. He hired multiple contractors who he would hire and then fire and then hire a new contractor to ensure that no one knew the full layout of the building. He started out as a drugstore front and then ended up being a hotel on the upper floors with the windowless rooms. But then he ended up just making the whole thing a hotel. He had a basement laboratory where he would dissect people. He had lime pits and a crematory oven. He had chutes and trapdoors to dump the bodies to the basement. He would lure victims. He used methods of gas asphyxiation, suffocation, dismemberment, and acid baths and lime pits to dissolve evidence. They speculate that there may have been up to 200 victims, which is what he claims, but it's never been verified.
Well, yeah, because there ain't no damn proof.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people just go unaccounted for. People don't have, I feel like people didn't have as much family as they did. And, people died easier and of sickness, so it's like you didn't have family. They all, you know what I mean? So people wouldn't make you missing. Like, people didn't account for you being gone or something like that.
The police were also not as organized during this time in the 1890s.
No, they weren't. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could get away with a lot more back then. With anything. I mean, with literally anything.
Well, the Cecil Hotel and the Murder Castle both share the truth that Certain places absorb dark energy, and that darkness haunts the people who enter. And the Cecil Hotel's tragedies unfolded organically, and the Holmes Castle was evil by design. So, this is the chaos of human suffering, or the chaos of the calculated mind of monsters. So, imagine checking into a hotel which is riddled with death and decay and murder. That
If you're not an empath, you ain't feeling it, and you're gonna get sucked in, and you getting killed too. I mean,
yeah, you're one of the
you're
just one of the next victims.
If you didn't feel the energy and you didn't leave then and there, then that's your own damn fault.
Oh my god.
I bet you that energy there was bad though.
Oh, for sure.
And then they're like, oh, you don't get your money back. Okay, bye. But people really did not. They wanted to get that money back. So they don't want to waste their money. They gonna stay in that hotel.
So, if you would like to see H.H. Holmes Murder Castle in Chicago, it is actually no longer standing, but the hotel was destroyed by a fire shortly after Holmes' arrest and was largely rebuilt and used as a post office until 1938. And there are reports that the hotel was actually recovered by Chicago police after the fire and is now part of a horror attraction.
I bet you there's some bad energy there. So it's not even like a building, it's just like an area.
Mm-hmm. It's the Inglewood Branch Post Office now stands at the site where serial killer H.H. Holmes' Murder Castle became part of the House of Gore.
I would not want to work there.
It seems terrible. There's probably... Oh my god, imagine people like, yeah, I work there. That's crazy.
Like, you feel that dead energy? What do you feel? Like, do you feel anything?
And then the Cecil Hotel, which actually is on 640 Main Street in Los Angeles, is still there today.
The what?
And it's called Stay.
What is it, the Cecil?
Yeah, the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah, so the Cecil is, like, the building. I thought it was still there. Like, I've seen people do, like, videos about it. Like, legit people, like, on YouTube.
As of 2021, the Cecil Hotel is now used to house homeless people who are still suffering from 2020, losing their jobs. The main lobby of the Cecil Hotel is a non-profit healthcare provider that is a space to provide medical services to the residents of the homeless people. This is also crazy info. The Cecil Hotel has 15 stories, but it's actually 14 because they do not have a 13th floor because it was built with 2 elevators, and elevator 1 has never worked.
In the Cecil Hotel?
Yeah, that's where Eliza Lamb was found dead.
Do you think she was like, maybe the elevator wasn't working? Was she in the elevator that wasn't working?
I don't know.
Maybe that's what it was.
The Cecil Hotel is now owned by Richard Bourne, which is the manager of Skid Row Housing Trust. The Cecil Hotel, as of March 5th, 2024, is actually up for sale. Actually. That would be fucking crazy hotel to buy.
Let's buy it and turn it into like a history of
horrors.
Yeah, the history of horror.
That's crazy.
I mean, there's like a death museum in New Orleans that I went to, so
yeah.
Why can't that be something? I mean, people are interested in stuff like that, so
yeah. Somebody needs to do it.
Like someone recreate, they're like, this is room, whatever, recreate it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Well, at the end of the day, the Cecil Hotel and the Hotel Cortez in American Horror Story prove that truth and fiction are not so far apart. And Cortez Hotel owner James March mirrors H.H. Holmes, while Richard Ramirez's ghost lurks both in the show and in the real halls of the Cecil Hotel. And here's the thing, that the Cecil victims like Eliza Lamb and the Pigeon Lady were not characters, they were real people lost to a place that seems to feed on tragedy. So that's literally the scariest takeaway after all of this, is that evil does not need to be ghosts or vampires. Sometimes evil is just found at a hotel with
bad energy and evil things that have happened. I mean, like, over time, when so many bad energies have happened, it can create something.
Yes. And energy can linger at a certain location, which I have experienced before, and I've experienced it many times. When I can feel the energy is off, I can feel it.
Yeah. You don't want to be there.
And the Cecil Hotel stories stick with us because it forces us to ask the question, is this place truly cursed, or does the energy make people feel a certain way when entering? The American Horror Story Hotel season turns the Cecil Hotel's horrors into like this gothic fantasy, where real tragedies such as overdoses, suicide, unsolved murders are rooted in neglect, poverty, mental health crises. And as we turn the lights off on this episode, remember that the next time you check into a historical hotel, maybe you should Google where the fuck you're staying first.
Yeah. That's with anything, whether it be haunted or it be in a dangerous area. Make sure you do your research.
Yes. Make sure. One thing that Eric does not want to do is stay in a hostel. He's so scared.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Literally, this girl, I forget what country they were in, but basically it's like the one place that people say not to stay at. And it's the slums of like the country, and it's the houses that are stacked up on top of each other. You know what I'm talking about? That you see?
Mm-hmm.
It's like stacked and like.
Yes.
But I guess they were staying at a hostel there, and it was like really bad. Like there's just killings. It's basically where the gang is in control of this city. Like the government doesn't even. I forget where it's at. Basically, the government doesn't even have any like control over it because the gangs are they don't even want to mess with it.
Wow.
So they are in control of, so they'll let like visitors and travelers come in because that's how they make their money. Like they'll like you won't get hurt or something, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's still dangerous for like locals. Like it's the slums, but there's hostels there for people that are traveling to stay, and people that get some.
Dude, that happened to Kristen actually. She said that.
Like, yeah, we're not staying here. We're leaving.
She said that when she got a hostel in, what was it, Italy? She said that the bus driver literally stopped like several blocks, like 5 blocks before their place, like their stop. And she was like, where are you going? Because the bus was like turning around. And he was like, oh, I don't go past this point. And she was like, why not? And they were like, because it's a very dangerous part of town. Like, I'm not going over there. So then we found out that our place we were staying was in a really bad area. Yeah, and there were people who were like robbed there and stuff. So
it's crazy.
So like she was like, you got to do your research on where you stay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I forget what that place is, but it's a legit place that people like want to go visit. You just don't want to stay in that specific area.
Mhm. Whether it's the American Horror Story, the Countess, her story, or the real life Cecil Hotel, or the Night Stalker, or the Murder Castle's legacy, remember that the Hotel Cortez is fiction, but it taps into a fear that going to a place can result in your death. And I guess remember, if you're staying in a hotel and you're listening to this, I'm sorry. It's probably not the best podcast to be listening to if you're staying in a hotel right now. But remember. Wait. Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, thank you for checking in.
You're like, that's it. Oh, shit.
Thank you for checking in to this nightmarish episode. We'll leave the light on for you. But until next time, sleep tight if you can. And also remember to keep it chatty.
Keep it nice.
And
keep it sweet. Because we will not be keeping it
short, bitch. Love you.
Short. Oh my god, short.
Love you, bye.